Welcome back to Book Break. In this video, I'm going to be recommending some of the best Australian mysteries. I, along with a lot of the world, got kind of obsessed with Australian crime fiction after reading my first Jane Harper book and realising that Australia has a lot of really great settings for mysteries and thrillers. So I will start off by talking about Jane Harper because that's what got me sucked into Australian crime. So I started reading the Aaron Falk series, starting with The Dry, which is set in a small town in Australia in the midst of the worst drought in a century. So straight away, such a compelling setting for a mystery. This book introduces Aaron Falk, an investigator who returns to his hometown, a trope that we all love in crime stories. He returns to his hometown after his childhood best friend is murdered along with his whole family. So the book is partly an investigation into this murder, but also we get some of the backstory because Aaron Falk shared a secret with his childhood friend Luke, who has now been murdered, and this secret is now threatening to come back to the surface. There is then a second in the series called Force of Nature, which is set in the bushland. Both of these books have been so popular and so beloved, and it's very exciting that there is a third book coming, Exiles. So catch up on this series in time for that. Exiles will be coming out next year, so you've got 6 months at least to catch up. Dirt Town by Hayley Scrivener has got this really bleak setting. So it's set in this dying town called Durton. Everyone calls it Dirt Town. And two best friends, two teenagers, Ronnie and Esther, leave school together, but Esther never makes it home. And then 5 days later, her body is found. So the book then follows different characters looking into this mystery for different reasons, many of them with secrets of their own. And the different perspectives work really well. It's a really page-turning book, but very character-driven. And the setting is so important in this book, because as well as being a mystery, it's also a painting of how much one person can mean in a community, and a community that is falling apart, but also coming together. For a historical mystery, I recommend Moonlight and the Pearler's Daughter by Lizzie Pook. So in this one, we go back to the 19th century and meet the Brightwell family, who have sailed from England to make a new life in Australia. 10 years after their arrival, Charles Brightwell goes missing from his ship. He is a pearler, the most prolific pearler in the community. So he goes missing from his ship while out at sea, and it's down to his daughter Eliza to find out what happened. Along the way, she uncovers corruption, blackmail, prejudices that the town is trying to keep buried. Also along the way, you will come across crocodiles and jellyfish, because Australia. Another book on the Pearl theme is Butterfly Song by Terry Janke. So this one starts in 1992, just after the High Court decision on Indigenous land rights. Our main character, Tarina Paulson, is just finishing off her law degree when she is thrown into her first case involving her own family. Her family are claiming ownership of a valuable pearl shell, which is being sold off as part of the estate of a white doctor. So it's like a legal, historical family drama mix. In The Bluffs by Kyle Perry, a group of teenage schoolgirls go missing in the Tasmanian wilderness, which sets the whole community on high alert. It has not been that long since a group of children went missing once before, and local legends still talk of the Hungry Man. So this book has got all of your favourite elements of small-town crime fiction, but with some modern twists. So, for example, the fact that the town is home to a teenage YouTube sensation. It's a really eerie mix where crime meets folklore. Scream Black Murder by Philip McLaren is a crime novel set on the streets of Sydney. A serial killer is murdering Aboriginal women, and Australia is not taking notice until a white woman is murdered, and then this media frenzy explodes. Philip McLaren is a really popular Indigenous crime author whose books explore a lot about racism against Aboriginal Australians, and particularly within the police. So you could pick up any of his really to fit this Australian crime theme. I'm going to finish up with a totally bonkers one, The Dead Heart by Douglas Kennedy. I read this one when I was a teenager and it has stuck with me ever since, and it's so not what I was expecting from this cover. It's about an American tourist who visits the Australian outback, meets a hitchhiker called Angie, and ends up getting kidnapped and taken to this commune that is literally off the map. It is crazy and weird and funny and very scary at points. That book has been in my brain for many years. I think I need to reread it. So those are some of my recommendations of the best Australian crime, but it's such a huge and growing genre, so I would love to know your recommendations in the comments below, which ones you've particularly enjoyed, because I will pick them up. And I'll also link here to a playlist of all of our crime and thriller videos, so you can browse through for loads more recommendations. And I'll see you next time.